In this session, I will tell you a little bit about the biggest mistakes you can make as product owners, especially as new product owners, but sometimes also as more experienced product owners. So my first question is, who here is right now a practicing product owner? Please stand up. Okay. Some of you. Okay, who here is considering becoming a product owner? Please join the ones standing, and the product owners, please keep standing. Who wants to become a product owner in the future? Cool. Okay, and who here is not sleeping? Please join the standing people. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So I don't know, about half of you is either a product owner or considering becoming a product owner. So what is the rest of you doing here? I don't know, but maybe I'll convince you to become a product owner. Okay, so first let me introduce myself. My name is Michał, and right now I'm a product owner at a company called For Finance. We offer loans to customers in 12 countries, mostly in Europe. And actually my area is, I'm responsible for payment systems. So right now we're adding like credit card support, for example, for Spain. And stuff like that. Okay, and before I became a product owner in May of this year, and before that I was a full-time Scrum trainer and consultant and coach. And in that time I had a lot of opportunity to work with many different teams doing Scrum, trying to do Scrum or other kinds of agile processes, and also work with their various kinds of product guys. So maybe product owners, product managers, and stuff like that. So I was a product owner. I am a product owner myself, and of course, most of those pitfalls that I'm going to tell you about are from my own painful experience, and the others are from what I have observed other people do. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so the first mistake that you can make is to believe that a product owner is actually kind of an analyst, like a business analyst or a systems analyst. And the mistake here is that you focus too much on gathering and processing information and turning that information, processing it into a set of requirements. Right, and one of the dangerous ideas behind this kind of thinking is that it assumes that there is such a thing as correct requirements, that if you're a good analyst, a good product owner in this mistake, that you can process all this information and create correct requirements. And of course, this is not true. This is not the role of a product owner. Sure?
What is correct requirement?
Correct requirement? Good question. What is a correct requirement? I will let you answer that yourself, but and I will not focus on this because tomorrow. The point is that there is no such thing as correct requirement. Yeah. So that's the point, actually. Anyway, if you want to learn more about this, then tomorrow my friend Dominic from the same company will talk about his path from being a full-time business analyst to becoming a product owner and what he learned about this, that the product owner is actually not just an analyst. Okay, so this is a mistake you can make, but even if you know that you shouldn't do this, then you can also go too far in the other direction. So you still have to at least appreciate the complexity of those requirements, of the logical, functional data structures around your product. And even if you do not analyze them yourself, then you can go too far. You don't want to underestimate it. You don't want to ignore this topic. Okay, so this is the first mistake. The second mistake is believing that the product owner is kind of a project manager. And what do project managers do? Well, the project managers focus on who will do what when. This is one simplification of being a product owner. project manager. And some product owners, and especially if they were project managers in their previous job, they sometimes fall, or we sometimes fall into this trap of thinking, like trying to analyze, okay, we want to achieve this result, so to do this we have to do these kind of tasks, so we have those people available, so who will do what when? And of course this is a mistake because in Agile, as you all know, we have self-organizing team, and you don't want a single manager, and especially the product owner, to focus on micromanaging the team to achieve results. One of the problems is that actually you don't have all the information yourself. So the people actually doing the work, they can do a much better job in organizing their own work than you can. Right, so this is one thing, and even if you did, then it's still a problem because by being a micromanaging manager, you can only get, even if you are very strong and you achieve some kind of success, then you still, the most you can hope for is obedience from your team. But actually to achieve really great results, you need engagement. And you cannot do that if you just think about juggling people and tasks and thinking who will do what when. Right, so this is the one major mistake. But of course, as with all mistakes, even if you correct it, you can go too far in correcting it. So you don't want to go as far as to completely ignore the complexity of work, and especially the complexity of work in large groups of people. It is not so easy to, even things that appear simple are not so simple in this context. And even though you don't want to spend time solving all the problems yourself, you have to have some appreciation for what kind of problems are in this area. Okay, so this is the second pitfall, is thinking that the product owner is a project manager. Okay, the third mistake that you can make is believing that the product owner is kind of a chief engineer. So he should know exactly what we need to build and how to build it, and answer all the questions, make all the decisions, create the architecture, create everything, and then just show it to developers and then evaluate if they coded it right. And of course, digging too deep into the technical solution as a product owner is one source of danger for several reasons. One major reason is that you tend, even if you have the knowledge to do that, you tend to lose the big picture. You want to think about your product, its impact, what the different stakeholders think about your product, and where is it going and where it should go. Instead of, and if you focus too much on the technical details, then you just don't have the mental bandwidth to think about the big picture at the same time, at least as much as you should. And the other reason is that if you have this approach, and it's easy to make, because of course as product owners it is sometimes said, okay, but what is your technical experience? To work with developers you need to understand developers and understand technology, and that is true. But sometimes we have this need to kind of show off that yes, I can talk about technical issues, but you should avoid this temptation and just keep your distance, because you will never be a better engineer than your team. And if you are, then you have a different kind of problem. Okay. And of course, as with all the mistakes, you can go too far if you completely ignore the technical complexity of your product and the work that the team is doing, then you will also run into trouble by having unreasonable expectations compared to from the team, and maybe promising solutions to stakeholders that are not realistic in your product. Okay, so this is the third mistake you can make. The fourth mistake you can make is believing that the product owner should be a designer. This is a fairly common misconception that teams expect the product owner to prepare wireframes and like a detailed description of how the system should exactly work, where should we have what kind of buttons, what color they should be, and what they should do. And this is especially seductive because, well, the product owner feels like a sense of control and contribution, that yes, I designed this system, it is like my creation. And it is also easy for the team because they don't have to worry about how to design things. Even if this design doesn't satisfy the needs of the customer, it's not their problem. They got the wireframes, they coded it correctly, it's done. And of course, it's a mistake in this way. And as with all the other mistakes, you can go too far. That is, as a product owner, you should focus on the business impact of your product, but you should not ignore the experience of your product, because of course it has a huge impact on how useful it is. And even such kind of superficial things as just how it looks, it is also important. So even though you should not focus too much on it, should not be your sole responsibility to prepare those designs. But even though you should keep it in mind and be able to understand at least what is involved in creating a good user experience or a good design, even if you don't do it yourself. Okay. I made a mistake in throwing away this mistake. Okay, then the next mistake is believing that the product owner is a customer. This is especially insidious because in the definition of especially in XP where the role is explicitly called customer or a similar role, and many times in Scrum where kind of the product owner is positioned as the customer of the team or the customer representative, and this is true, but you should not. Sometimes in my experience, the mistake that happened is that the product owner kind of limited himself to giving some void requests. So as a customer, I walk into a store and yes, I would like this kind of thing or another. And then when he got the solution, he would just have some arbitrary judgments on the fitness of this solution. Is it a good solution? Is it not a good solution? So even though it is important to think of the product owner as the customer representative, and he does hold in his hands the value of the product, but you should not fall into a mindset of expecting the team to magically know what you need. So there's a famous saying that attributed to Henry Ford that he said that if I would ask the customers what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. But of course he didn't give them a faster horse, he gave them a mechanical car. So there is a strong role for a very important role for a product owner to have a vision of the solution. What kind of new thing will we offer our customers? What will we show them? It's not enough just to say, no, I would like a faster horse, and then just criticize that this is not a fast enough horse when you get it. So the product owner should definitely understand and be able to communicate to the team in as clear terms as possible. What are the business drivers of your project? Where do we expect to find value from this project? So sometimes it is specific goals, for example. We want to double our sales, or let's say double our conversion on our website. But sometimes it is more general. So for example, in my credit card project that I mentioned earlier, one of the business drivers is that we expect that people will take more follow-up loans. When they repay with a credit card, we expect that it will be so much easier than other methods that they will be more likely to take on loans. But we cannot treat it as a direct requirement because it's too far from our area of control. But it is still important to understand what are the possibilities. So for example, when we don't achieve this goal, but we find other benefits from our project, then we will be happy. But we have to have a list of things that are valuable when they happen. We have to understand those business drivers, even if we cannot guarantee some results up front. Okay, And also the other mistake is that you should, when you are this kind of customer that only comes to the review and says, oh, this is good or not good, then you do not feel engaged in the product. But if you are, as a product owner, you are not engaged in your own product in many of its aspects, then how can you expect the team to be engaged in building it? Then they will just also achieve this attitude. They will just shuffle some technical solutions without caring much. So this is one of the major mistakes that I saw. And of course, you can also go too far in this direction. You should not overwhelm your team with input with your opinions of how things should look. You should focus on those business drivers, and you can also communicate some context and even some of your own ideas, but not too much. You can definitely go too far and overwhelm your team. Okay, so the next mistake is believing that the product owner is kind of a dictator. And especially there's a famous article about product owners, and in this article it compares different models of product owners. The worst one is business analyst, I think, and the best one is like mini CEO, that you are completely responsible for the success of your product. Which is, I also believe in this model, but when you read it, especially if you have not ever been a CEO yourself, then it's easy to get a misconception about this idea that when you are the CEO, you kind of make all the decisions, and it's all about your vision and your ability to motivate your team, inspire everyone, and solve all the problems. So basically, as a product owner, you do have to have a sense of responsibility for your product and kind of try to like encompass all the aspects. But you cannot fall into a trap of thinking that it is all you, basically. So if your team is unhappy, you will fail as a product owner. If your stakeholders are unhappy, you will fail as a product owner. If your users are unhappy, you will also fail as a product owner. And also, you can go too far, because if you are unhappy, you will also fail, of course. So it is a little bit about you as product owners, but not only about you. Yeah, so this is a very important one, especially since it's like one of the mistakes is like not caring enough, so the other is caring too much. And another, like going too far with this in this direction, of course you don't want to go in the other way and try to please everyone. This is of course impossible as well. So you have to achieve some kind of balance. Yeah, so now I've told you many things what the product owners are not. So the question is, what is a product owner? Well, the answer is it's a little bit of all of those people. It is about achieving balance and connecting all of those different aspects of your product. Each of those products, of course, we want our products to be the best ever, in all, best quality, best design, best usability, best business value, best everything, best lowest amount of technical debt and stuff like that. But actually, you cannot achieve perfection in everything. So to be successful, you have to achieve balance, to balance the perspective of the analyst, to make sure that there are no like holes. For example, if we create a login feature, we should also have the possibility to, for example, manage users, because it is pointless to have to be able to log in if you cannot manage users. So this is one aspect, but also to basically balance all of those aspects. And one perspective is that you have to balance it and you can try to do it yourself, but actually, especially in bigger products, you cannot do it yourself. So the role of the product owner becomes as a connector, to connect all of those people that can give you those valuable perspectives, to give their valuable input into your product, just to communicate to them, that you make sure that everyone understands what we are trying to do here. Within the team or with external collaborators or many teams working on the same product or whatever. So one thing that product owner's role is to achieve balance between all the aspects of the product. And the second thing is that it is not only like achieve balance in your head, but actually by connecting all the people that will make it happen in reality. So this is the basic role of the product owner. Did you notice something? Any questions about all those pitfalls? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for paying attention. Okay, so the seventh pitfall, and actually this is the biggest one, the one that happens most often that I saw, and the one that that happens is that people underestimate the role of the product owner. Since it is so difficult to define precisely, as I said, it is not this, it is not that. There are many misconceptions around it. So when we cut away, it is not a product owner, it is not an analyst, not a project manager, so what is it? Yeah? 5 minutes, okay, thanks. I thought it was a question. Okay. If it is none of those things, then it seems easy. Oh, just talk to some people and everything will be okay. The real work is done by other people. But actually, this is a big mistake. And when I joined for finance, actually, I said I became a product owner in May, but actually I joined in April. And for the first month, I was a Scrum Master. So what is the biggest job of the Scrum Master? Yeah, so the biggest job of the Scrum Master is to remove impediments that limit the team. So I have found that the biggest impediment was that there was no strong product owner. So I became a product owner myself. Yeah. Okay. So what is the risk? Because you can say, of course, oh, don't underestimate. But what is the risk if you have like let's say you're thinking correctly that you want the product owner to be someone with responsibility in the business that can actually make decisions about your product, about how we use our development budget and stuff like that. But there is a danger because if we have such a person, then he has a lot of other responsibilities. And maybe we should say that we have this great person, so maybe we will let him be a product owner for 3 teams. And this was exactly our case at For Finance. It doesn't work. And what is the risk? The risk is that you will basically waste time. If you don't have a product owner that has, it is a lot to think about to balance all of those aspects, and a lot of people to talk to connect everyone that needs to be connected. So you need someone full-time in this role. You cannot be a product owner in like 10% of your time or 20. Like I would say at least 60. But basically it is a full-time job. If you don't, your team will waste time, you will miss opportunities, and you will also miss dangers that are coming to kill you and your product. Okay, so those are the 7, very quickly going through the 7 big mistakes that you can make as new product owners. Thank you.